Hello. This week I am going to Vegas to visit my sister for the week, and I have sort of gotten halfway through packing. It's already 2 p.m. I should have left like 3 hours ago, but I woke up 3 hours ago. So this is where we're at, and I'm actually very okay with it. I don't think adding an extra couple hours to the drive from traffic should make this trip any less enjoyable. Yeah, I am kind of figuring out. I don't think that I'm gonna be able to do any hiking because it's supposed to be like 107, 108 there this week. So I think I'll just stick to journaling. I am seeing a couple of friends from when I used to live in Vegas, and maybe just a few books, and I should be good. I got here at 9 p.m., and I'm not gonna lie, that was a bit of a rough drive. I remember now why I don't like that drive being long in particular, and it's because of that merge onto, I think it's the 91 from the 241, where like everyone's in the right two lanes, and then everyone on the left two lanes are like merging into the right two at the last minute, and then I stayed in the right lane. But it's one of those things where you have to try really hard not to let people merge in. I mean, I probably didn't have to, but I'm not gonna lie, it is a little upsetting when a lot of people are trying to cut in front, even though I know that they need to get to their destination too. But it does upset me a little bit in those situations. Because, like, also, like, I know that they're just gonna cut in front somewhere even further up ahead and still be in front of me, but for some reason it's still more satisfying to let them do that than to let them cut right in front. Anyways, I ended up being stuck there for about 45 minutes trying to merge onto the highway. So I'm here now, and my sister's lease ends in 2 years approximately, and after her lease ends, her and her boyfriend are planning on moving back to the East Coast, and so I've really been thinking about how I need to take advantage of this time that she lives on the West Coast again as much as I can to visit her and like build that closeness while I still can easily, somewhat easily. I think sometimes I take for granted having a sister, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to fully show up for her, and I want her to know that I am there for her and that I love her. So I think it's hard because that's not the dynamic we grew up with, really. It's interesting breaking cycles with your family because you grow up with them and you're so set in your ways in the way that you interact with them from childhood. And it's weird because every time I see her now, I'm like brought back into this version of myself that doesn't actually fully feel like me, but I also feel uncomfortable like being authentic and stepping into maybe a side of myself that is new to her. Like it feels like I have to put a lot of conscious effort into trying to do that. Like there's this part of me that's like clawing its way out and wanting to be seen, and I don't know, I can feel myself resisting it sometimes. It's a strange thing because I think you don't really get to experience that experimental shifting of dynamics and with complete trust that like you guys will make it through whatever shifts, whatever changes happen, really with anyone else, maybe like really long-term friends, but it is a training ground, and I think I want to be more conscious of how I'm showing up with that and really try my best to show all of myself and bring the things in that I've been learning through other relationships into ours instead of letting it default to whatever it was in childhood. I'm gonna read now. It is like midnight, and wind down. Good morning. It is day 2. Today I'm up a bit earlier because I had lunch plans, so it is 11:30, so I'm hoping that today I'll be able to sleep earlier because I do want to leave in the morning tomorrow. And right now I'm gonna go get lunch with an old coworker, and I'm pretty excited because I haven't seen him in like I want to say honestly like 5 years. So I just took a little nap after getting home from lunch with my coworker, which was really fun. But I was planning to go to a coffee shop and do some homework. Right now my sister is out celebrating a friend's birthday for dinner, but she is going to be back soon, and I realized that I'm here to visit her and spend time with her, so I'm actually perfectly okay with just staying in and doing homework here until she gets back. And also it's really hard to leave because she has these cute little dogs, and they're so needy and cuddly. You're just so cute, Chopper. That concludes my trip, and I am on the way back home now. And it was kind of sad when I was leaving. I ended up bursting into tears, and I realized that like there is a state of low-level dysregulation that I kind of exist in constantly around my family, and that does include my sister, just because that's the dynamic that I'm used to with her, and it's really hard to shift out of that because I do think it takes a lot of conscious effort. So I was telling her that it feels like I exist at this like muted version of myself, and it's hard for me to break out of that with family, and like with my dad too, where it just feels like I'm not being myself, and like the energy and vibrancy and like enthusiasm towards life like disappears kind of when I'm with them, and it makes me feel not excited. It makes me feel I just want to be able to be myself around like anyone. And yeah, as I've been driving home, I've been thinking about heartbreak and how I don't know why I've been chasing like feeling happy my entire life, when like if I were to just be happy all the time, I don't think that would be a very fulfilling life at all, honestly, because the heartbreak, the sadness, the pain, the joy, all of it is what makes this human experience. And like truly it feels so much more grounding to like exist with your pain and really face it, despite that heartbreak that I've been going through and still currently going through, being one of the probably the roughest emotional experience of my life. I think that it has taught me so much about myself that I would even say that this heartbreak is probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's weird to acknowledge to myself that the heartbreak, I think, actually has been more significant to my development than the relationship itself. Although the relationship did teach me many things and changed me immensely, I think this heartbreak has been absolutely life-changing, because for the first time ever, I feel like I know what it feels like to trust myself and feel this inner sense of stability that no matter what I'm feeling, I am going to be okay. I am going to be able to make sense of my experiences, and it's just really beautiful. I feel so lucky to get to experience it all, and I'm honestly not scared of heartbreak. I'm actually completely down to get my heart broken again. I don't really think I value having like a lifelong partner anymore. I think because seeing the way that this heartbreak has changed me, this love and heartbreak has changed me so much, I'm like, why wouldn't I want to experience those depths as many times as needed and as possible, if that's what I feel called to do. Like, if you're no longer growing with someone, then is absolutely nothing wrong with going your separate ways and creating more space and opportunity for what's right for you to come into fruition, because we need the pain. We need to learn how to sit in our pain so intimately that it's not something to be afraid of, and it's whole and complete on its own. It doesn't need to be resolved. It doesn't need some grand story at the end of it for everything to make sense. I just think pain in and of itself is beautiful, and I love feeling sad so much. It reminds me that I'm real. It makes me feel alive. Yeah. In the same way that I think we see happiness as a milestone and like joy, and we're always working to get towards those, I feel an inner impulse now that to put heartbreak on the same plane of like desire as I do with love. And like honestly, I do want that just as much as I want to experience love. Kind of unrelated, but something else I've been thinking about recently is how oftentimes I will notice something about someone and I'll say it, and I think what happens very subconsciously for me is I know how I feel about it, and it's usually, if I'm communicating it, it means it's a positive thing. Like I've made a positive association with it. Like for example, I might be like, oh, you always do this with your, or you always say something in this structure, or like you follow it with this, and I almost always mean it in a way that's like, it is cool, or it is amusing, it is interesting, it's something that I noticed because it's different. And I think anything that makes someone different is like pretty cool, honestly. But I realized that I have a hard time moment to moment identifying like what that feeling is, and I don't tend to communicate that part of it. And I've realized that because I've been conversing with some people who I think will take it the wrong way, and I notice they get a little bit defensive, or they'll say like what does that mean, or like, or they'll assume that I'm judging them. And it just made me realize it made me realize that I am not communicating the positive part of it, but also how much people are like judging themselves, because I always mean it in a positive way, and it just makes me feel sad when people take it the wrong way, because I know that that's their inner perception towards themselves. And I just want people to see their light and what makes them unique and special. And also to add to that, I think that being someone with so many wounds and like having worked through a good amount of them now, it just like, it really touches my heart when I see other people who are like very wounded. It just makes me want to care for them even more, because I know how that feels, and I know how lonely it feels to exist that way inside of yourself.